Yep. Is anybody watching us, or
Yep.
does anybody even care anymore? Welcome to String Theory. String Theory. Theory. Wednesday night, and we're back again. Me and the lovely Ginger's in the house, trying to maintain some semblance of order. It's not possible to do, but we can all be happy that we have friends like Boucher Guitars, Levy's G&G Music, the Guitar House, Brick House Guitars, Acoustic Shoppy, Parkway Music, K&K, Gallagher, Alvarez, Yeri, St. Louis Music, Yamaha, Close Guitars, Cody Guitars, D'Addario, Apollo Picks, Epiphone, Gibson, Blue Chip Picks, Toast Lad, LR Bags, Hosen Guitars, George Crackett, Emerald Guitars, Nova Scotia SPCA, Charmed Life Picks, Pickers Grip, Canary Guitars, Edwardson Guitars, Shenmo Guitars, Flamang Guitars, Cirrus Guitars, Rickard Banjos, and Deering Banjos. And there's probably a few I'm forgetting tonight because there's more and more people being added to this list. In the background, we hear excerpts from my brand new record, 50 Years of Guitar, which I'm going to be sending to press next week. I just finished it about an hour ago. Honest to fuck. And so there you go. If you want a copy of it, piss off. You can't have one.
That's not true.
But it will be out very shortly.
So terrible sales technique.
The swag is all out. You can buy hats and shirts and condoms and dog collars and license plates and arsehole butt plugs and all kinds of things.
Also no.
All with 50 years of guitars on them.
Shirts and hats.
So there you go. And that's where we are right now. I just stopped the music because I'm too far. I went off the track.
Immediately.
Yeah, almost immediately.
Almost immediately.
Oh yeah, almost immediately. Love you.
I think the dogs have figured out where the dog cam is and they're avoiding
Yeah, they don't like being on camera, so they're just laying out on the floor, licking their feet because fuck you guys. Shit. For Capo Corner, I have to do a honorable. It's more than an honorable mention. On the way over to the house, a delivery showed up, and it's this guitar. This guitar is made by a company in Indonesia called Bromo Guitars. Bromo is a mountain that the shop sits in the shadow of over there, and it's a CNC shop with about 12 or 15 guys building the guitars after the CNC cuts everything out. Much the same as Cirrus does. There's a master luthier over there, and I'm telling you, this guitar kind of blew my mind. This because it's not expensive. As a matter of fact, I don't want to talk out of turn. I'm not sure. I mean, look at the back of this thing. The back and the sides of this thing are about as high a grade of flame maple as you can possibly get in a guitar. It's bound in maple. It has a tremendously beautiful satin Sitka spruce top, hand-carved bridge, tapered tortoiseshell pickguard, abalone in all the right places, and it's a monster, this thing. Looking inside at the braces, and the braces all have holes cut in them. It's beautiful. It's just amazing to look at. They have holes. They're all, the braces are there, but they're all. It looks like the Confederation bridge or something in there. It's just beautiful. The way it's made is I'm gobsmacked. And I know that this guitar probably costs less than $3,000, maybe less than $2,000. I don't even know I'm not sure what they're charging for these, but it's not a lot of money. And that in itself is, I'm telling you what, the boys over in Asia, in China, Indonesia, those kind of places. I have another guitar they're going to review from the new, the Enya carbon guitar company out of China. These boys are trying to impress us, and they're doing a good job, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're just beautiful guitars for the money that you're getting out of those countries. There's guitars coming out of those countries that are just jaw-dropping, and this is one of them. You kind of just have to shake your head and go, okay, I could have a really cool guitar for X amount, less than, a quarter of what you'd pay from the big names, right? The Martins and the Gibsons and the Taylors and all of that different stuff. What are you doing, Jacko? What's he doing?
Nothing.
You all right, buddy? Jack's getting old. He's 13 now, and he's kind of like not sure what's going on with him. It's pretty tough. Why did you do that? Was he all right?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Nothing.
Okay. It's one of those things where everything he does, you worry it's his last thing he's going to do.
It's a little rash. You think, buddy?
Yeah. Poor buddy. He's a good old doggo. He's been through the washer and the ringer, I'll tell you that.
The washer.
The washer and the ringer, the dryer.
Through the washer.
He's been all through all that. Now he's just smelling the carpet.
You never know what you might find.
Yeah, he's laying down. Okay. Oh, well. Anyhow, that's my rant. And another great thing is, Americans won't be able to even buy these because there'll be a 30% tariff on them probably pretty soon. So if you're Canadian and you want something cool like this made by artisans over in Asia, buy it because it's going to be 30% cheaper for us. Plus, our money is not worth anything, so they seem to know that, and they give us good prices here. So it is what it is.
Accurate statement.
Our money's worth jack. We're on par with Australia right now. We are too. It's fucking scary. Australia used to be worth more than us. Now we're on par. Yeah, but I don't care. Who gives a shit? Still playing guitars. Still sitting here drinking beer. World's not over yet. I looked out the window a minute ago. Everybody was still there. So, yeah. It is what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just focus on guitars and leave politics to somebody else. There are no questions, but you have a thing you need to talk about.
What's that?
Friday.
Oh, yeah. Just let me get my phone. I have other things, too.
See, you came prepared.
Talk amongst yourselves, Ginger.
Well, they always do.
Right. So Friday, this coming Friday, this is so weird because these shows stay up online, and somebody will watch this 5 years later and go, "Oh, he's playing down there Friday." It's not. It's this Friday.
Or you use a date, a number.
Yeah. So anyhow, so this Friday, the 21st of February in the year 2025, 2 days from now, I'm supposed to be playing down in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, at the Firkenstein Brewery, brew pub, brewing company, one of those things. And tickets have been slow. Look at me. Who would buy tickets for this shit? But anyhow, the last time I was there, I sold it out. So we want to do that again. Also because Firkenstein is closing permanently, which is sad because it was a great venue to play music in. They built wicked beer. They're nice. They're nice people. It's a great spot, and unfortunately, the location's just not supporting the that type of venue, which is normal for a lot of places. They just sometimes a brew pub.
It's way out of the way, too.
So it's just, there's only, 30,000 people down, 30 or 40,000 down there. So it's hard to support that kind of venue. They did well for years, and then apparently over the last year, it's been going steadily downhill. And it's very sad. So Devin wanted me to be the last thing to play there. And I would love to have that honor. So this Friday night, if you're not doing anything, the last time we checked, there was only about somewhere around 20 tickets sold. It holds 80 people seated, but another 70 standing. So, like the last time I was there, it was packed out. So hopefully you can get people together, do things, buy stuff, talk about things, show up. If you do, I'll be there. If not, if we haven't got a good ticket count by Thursday night, we're gonna pull the plug. But I'm kind of hoping that I get to play there one more time for Devin and for his staff, and it's great people. So the other thing I got to talk about, which is really cool, is I'm going on a tour in March with Jimmy Rankin and Catherine McClellan. We're doing a run of shows in Ontario starting on the 18th. Of course, don't have a name of the goddamn venue. They didn't send it to me. But anyhow, it's their theaters. So we're going to be in Ottawa on the 18th, North Bay on the 19th, 20th, Oakville, Ontario, Brantford on the 21st, and Highgate, Ontario on the 22nd. So these will be big theaters in your community. So they didn't send me the names of the venues. But also, Jimmy's going to be here playing live from Ginger's Barn next Wednesday night. And we're going to give you all that information then. That concert will be a standard live from Ginger's Barn. So if you want to help us money-wise, we'd love you to do that. You'll be able to send us money through the normal channels that you always have done here on the channel. I'll give you that information on the night of the show. And I can't tell you what an incredible honor it is to have Jimmy Rankin coming in here to play, because Jimmy's been my buddy for 30 years, and let's face it, the Rankins and Jimmy, after the Rankins, they sold millions of records. Inside Canada. They never left here. They stayed inside the country. Jimmy is still touring relentlessly in Canada, and he's just a hero to a lot of people. He's a great writer. He's a good buddy of mine. Him and I have always gotten along. His brother John Morris and I were friends, and it's going to be a hell of a night next Wednesday night, and then we're off to Ontario in March with Catherine McClellan. Now, Catherine, I can tell you right now, I would pay $100 if she would just come in this room right now and sing me the phone book. I'd be happy with that. I'd pay $100 for that all day long and twice on Sunday. Catherine McClellan is probably one of the greatest singers in the nation right now. Not to mention songwriters. And, of course, her pedigree is obvious. Her father was Gene McClellan, who wrote Snowbird and, hundreds of other great songs. And she's just the nicest, sweetest person you ever met in your life. So that's going to be a really cool tour. It's a song circle style show. We'll all be on stage together, just going in the round, the three of us, for 2 sets. And I can't wait. It's going to be deadly. So keep your eyes open in those towns. Like I said, I don't have the venues listed with me right yet, but 18, Ottawa, I think it's at the NAC. 19th is North Bay, the big theater there. 20th is Oakville, 21st is Brantford, 22nd is Highgate. And, so there we go. We'll get more information on it next Wednesday night when Jimmy's here, tearing it up. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be wicked. I can't wait for him to get here. So, yeah. So we just burnt 17 minutes of your life, and you'll never get it back, ever. So that was our plan.
But maybe they made some good plans for March.
Yes, and try to come out Friday if you can. Would love to hear from Devon tomorrow and hear that there's 80 tickets sold. That'd be great. All right, next.
A question from James Graff.
James Graff.
What are your thoughts on the British fingerstyle players?
You have to be more specific. I don't know any off the top of my
of
head, but the chances are that I do know them, but I just didn't realize they were British. So you'd have to be more specific about the actual players. The UK is absolutely filled with talent. Some of the greatest guitar players, singers, songwriters, bands, whatever, all come out of the UK. So, God knows who you're talking about, but I'm sure I might know them, might have played with them, might have performed in the festivals with them. But I'd need names and addresses, and I need more beer because I'm falling asleep. It's a long day. I've been working. I think it's time for a shot of Crown Royal, which will wake me the fuck up because I've been sort of sitting over here contemplating life.
I've been over here for a couple hours.
I've been up here since 3 o'clock. Okay, next.
Relatively short workday. Same. Question from Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews.
Have you played the new Alvarez Mahogany Laureates?
No, I haven't. But I have a Laureate here, and I wouldn't trade it. As a matter of fact, I just gigged with it. It's deadly. I put a K&K in it. Holy shit. Now, mind you, I'm sure that some of the Alvarez boys are probably going, he pulled the bags duet? Yeah, I did. I pulled the bags system out of it. Because it's not the... I don't think it's the... it's not the duet system. It's just the hi-fi system in that one. And I prefer the K&K to the hi-fi system. Now, the hi-fi duet system, that's something else. That's going to be another beast altogether because it has the microphone with it. So I'm just waiting for those to arrive. I've been talking to LR Bags for a few weeks now, trying to get things sorted out for this year because I got a lot of work to do with them. I just bought the new Bags acoustic guitar that is basically built around the hi-fi duet system. That's going to be here in March, and they're supposed to be sending me some pickups that we can try install. I have guitars here to install them in. Gunning wants one. He's always been a fan of that dual source Bags thing, so he's really hoping that the hi-fi duet is going to be the cat's ass. Which, as I've been seeing around on different videos, people demonstrating them around the world, they seem to be really, really good. So, here's hoping. And you go quick before I fall asleep.
A question from Harvender Baines.
Harvender Baines.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be new.
It's quite possible.
Yes.
Yamaha recommendation, LS16 or FS3?
Well, they're two different guitars. The 3...
They would be, otherwise they'd have the same name.
Well, I mean more than that. The FS3 is a satin finish guitar, number one. What was the other one? The 6 or 16?
16.
So the 16 is poly gloss. I've never seen a bad 16 ever. And if you get a 16 Deluxe, look out. They're unreal. And if you get a chocolate 16, a brown 16, I've just never seen a bad one. The FS3, it can be less reliable. They're not bad quality at all. They're high quality. But the fact that they're satin finished and the 16s are not, that makes a big difference. So you want to try both guitars before you make a decision. Also, the 16s come with, holy shit, what's wrong with me? The 16s come with an undersaddle proprietary pickup. The FS3s can come with the Atmosphere, which is another proprietary Yamaha product that, in my opinion, is one of the best company pickups you can buy. Their guitars that have that system in them are just amazing. So, again, you have to kind of play both guitars. You got to find both guitars and decide which guitar acoustically and cosmetically and physically is your favorite, and then weigh it also against the difference in the two pickup systems. The 16's pickup system will also be passive. The FS, the red labels, they are powered by, I want to say 2 AA's, I think. There's a tray, and they're easy to get in and out of. The tray, the box is right outside. You just pop it and out it comes. And I've owned all of them, and I love them all. So it's really a matter of personal taste. And so before you do anything, find a 16D, 16 Deluxe. Find that one first, if it's possible. Because if you can get one of those and put it in your hands, chances are you're probably going to buy that guitar just because they're amazing. So, and yeah, you know me, I'm a Yamaha head. I can't help myself. Next.
Question from Stephen C.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tried the FG9 Rosewood? Thanks for all your content.
Yes, I have. I've tried all the FG's guitars except the FS's that are coming in. I'm supposed to be getting my FS's right away. Whether I will or not, I don't know. But I've tried all of them. I've tried all the Rosewood, Mahogany, FG, FS, and you'd be hard pressed to find a better guitar anywhere in the world. As far as I'm concerned, Yamaha builds the best dreadnought of any factory system. Like when I'm talking about, I'm not talking about small bench guys. I'm talking about companies that put out 100,000 guitars a year. Yamaha builds better dreadnoughts, the FG9 series, than any other company. They're better than Gibson, Martin, Taylor, Eastman. Any of them. They just can't touch what Yamaha's doing. So, mostly because they're, as Gibson and Martin and all these guys have done in the past, they've put out series of guitars that are built by their custom shops, right? Well, that's what Yamaha's doing. Hamamatsu is building all these FG guitars, and they're only making about 400 or 500 a year. So yeah, you're getting a custom shop guitar when you buy an FG9 or FS9. Doesn't matter the tone wood. I've played. They're just all incredible, and it's just going to come down to what subtleties that you enjoy from a guitar. Is it a rosewood subtlety or a mahogany one? Or a maple. They don't make maple, but that's the same idea, right? I love the subtleties of every wood, depending on the body size and the maker. So, yeah, again, go if you. I don't know where you are, but there's a guy in Mississauga, Ontario. His name is Stan Kaczemski. He runs a place called Guitar House, Haus. If you look him up, he has the largest selection of FG9 guitars and FS9s of any dealer in the world. He bought like 17 of them, and it's like a candy store in there. So if you want to get those guitars, because buddy, they're hard to find, Because like I said, there's 500 of them coming out a year, and that's supposed to supply the fucking world. And it can't. So there's only so many guitars coming to North America. Stan has the majority of them. So you need to talk to him. If you're in Ontario, around Toronto, go see him. If you're not, I'm sure that somebody there can help you. There's a lot of talented musicians that work with Stan. Stan's a guitar head like me, but there's some really talented guys up there that could help you pick one out based upon your preferences, whether it be mahogany, rosewood, the FG, or the FS. He has them all. So that would be the guy to see. So there you go. Here's the Stan Kachemsky. Guitar House. Guitar House. Every time I go in there, they try to feed me. I love them. Okay, next.
Steven says your website will be updated tomorrow with the March dates.
Sweet. Sweet.
Question from Jeffrey Cohen.
Jeffrey Cohen, welcome back, buddy.
At age 66, I've decided to study jazz guitar. God help me. JP, do you have a favorite Canadian jazz guitarist?
No. I don't have any modern jazz favorites. If I was going to learn jazz, and I mean, I obviously have delved into this ad nauseum in my career. There's two people that I would choose to learn from. It'd be Django Reinhardt. I would learn everything that Django ever did. There's all kinds of books and videos and DVDs and courses. I'd learn everything that he ever did. And then the next guy I would learn after him would be Joe Pass. Joe Pass was probably one of the greatest modern jazz players ever to hold a guitar. There's nobody like him. And so I want to tell you a great Joe Pass story, which is actually, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I have to. So Joe Pass and a famous violinist named Joe Venuti, who played with Pass and played with Grappelli and played, like he was that level of jazz violinist. Joe Venuti and Joe Pass were playing at Carnegie Hall. And the opening act, this is way, way back in the 50s, right? Just to give you an idea of how crazy Joe Venuti was as a precursor to this, he once he was in New York, and he called the union, and he hired every upright bass player in the catalog of the union, about 100 of them, and told them all, and they didn't know each other. So he had the union hire these 100 upright bass players to meet on the corner of the street below his hotel room, right? And that they'd be picked up for a gig. The bus would be along, right, to get them. Each bass player thought he was alone, so they all started to show up. 100 guys with basses and bags, right? And Venuti sat there looking out his window, watching all these arseholes stand on the sidewalk, thinking they had a gig. But he paid them. He paid them through the union to go there. They thought they had a gig, but they're like, why are we all? What's going on here? Like, what kind of a gig is this that hires 100 bass players, right? And that was how crazy Venuti was. So, just did it for devilment and paid out of his own pocket for it. So they're sitting at Carnegie Hall, and I was told this story by somebody who was actually there that night. And so Roy Rogers was opening the show, and he was there with Dale Evans, and he had Trigger, the horse, with him. So the idea was that Dale Evans was going to go out and say something, and then Roy was going to ride Trigger out onto the stage of Carnegie Hall. And he's there with this fucking horse in the wings, and Venuti's sitting on a chair by the wall, up against the wall, with his fiddle and his bow sitting there. And the horse walks by him, and it's ass. is right in front of him, right? He looks over at Joe Pass, and he takes his bow, and he starts playing with Trigger's balls.
It's rude.
He's just like poking him and rubbing him with his bow, right? And of course, Trigger gets fully aroused. And the way that Roy started the show was to ride out on stage and rear Trigger up, right? And of course, it was a spectacle. The Trigger had a massive hard-on. He walked, and Roy didn't know. And he pulls the horse up and is like, ah, ah, ah. And Venuti's in the back just fucking dying laughing, right? So this is, yeah, there was, those stories about all those old jazz dudes are fucking hilarious. I have heard 100 of them. But Joe Pass, if you, that whole scene of Pass and Venuti and Grappelli, Django Reinhardt, and then you start to get up into the 60s, the 70s and 80s, like George Benson and who's the other guy? Pat Metheny, but start in the beginning. That's where you got to go, and the beginning is Django. Django Reinhardt was the very first jazz guitar player. There was nobody before him, and he invented most of what the people after him did. And he did it with 2 fingers. He only had 2 fingers on his left hand, which is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. When you hear what he played with 2 fingers, and you're going, why do I suck with 4? Like, so.
Or 5 even.
Yeah. So keep that all in mind. That's what I would go for. There's lots of great books about Django and videos and all kinds of tools to learn Django. And then I would go with Joe Pass, because Joe Pass was the comp king. He could comp any melody in 3 and 4 note chords like all night long. He didn't use a pick. He was basically his thumb, his fingers. He just was, oh God, he was good. Jesus, he was unreal. I have old recordings of him, some of them live, like just playing with. Matter of fact, I got him playing with Grappelli, and this really famous bass player from Sweden. And I'm still, after all these years hearing it, still mesmerized by his genius, like his note choices, his chord choices, all the stuff he did, man, was just like, it was flawless, man, unbelievable. So yeah, anyhow, I went on a big jazz rant there, sorry. Anyhow, next.
I'm going to highlight a chat from Terry Short.
Terry Short, back again. More punishment.
What pick do you prefer to play with?
What
What pick?
Right now I'm using a Wiegand. They're these little fellas here. They're not cheap. They're I usually lose them, but they're a tri-corner pick, and they got little holes in the middle. 7 holes, and it really increases your grip. But I absolutely love these things. You can see the holes through it there, and I'm not sure what they're made of. It's an organic product that they make these picks out of, and I'm telling you, tone, speed.
What's the weight of it?
It's, I don't know.
I mean,
it's heavy.
Thickness.
It doesn't bend. I can tell you that. You don't want to use a pick that bends anyway. So it barely bends. I'd say it's like a 1.5, maybe a little better. I love it. They're the best picks I've ever used. I use blue chips and tone slabs and all that stuff, and they're fantastic. But there's something about this one that I get addicted to. And as good as all the other ones are, and they are, some of them are better. Like tone-wise, I think Tone Slab and what's my other favorite there?
Blue chip?
No, Apollo. Nick Monin. His picks are unbelievable, but they break. You can break them, and that sucks. It's not his fault. It's the nature of the material. So I've carried it. You can carry these things around in your pocket forever. and somehow they just never break, they never bend, they never go out of shape.
And you keep your picks in your pocket even when you're not working.
Oh yeah, I've had guitar picks in my pockets for 50 years. I never travel without a pick, a
Even
flat
to the
pick
grocery
and a
store.
thumb pick and a pocket knife in this left-hand pocket for 50 years. It's never been any different. I've always had that. There was many years too that I carried 2 banjo picks too, because I played banjo a lot. So I always had my picks and my knife in my pocket, continually. So now I'm just down to a thumb pick and a flat pick and a knife. So that's it.
Can't find it. Somebody, I missed it. I lost track of it now. But somebody said, "Is there a secret message in your shirt? Is there like a message you're trying to portray?"
Oh, I don't know. You read the goddamn shirt. What do you want to know? I think somebody asked me the last time I wore this on there.
I don't think it was that shirt.
Yeah,
Maybe.
somebody asked me. Somebody said the same thing to me a few weeks ago when I had this shirt on. It should be self-explanatory. You see the man. You see what he's saying.
I think that
All of you.
the more accurate message is that shirt was on the top of the pile.
Yeah. No. It means exactly what it says. We're all just completely fucking disappointments. We never get none of it right. And that's all I'm saying. Okay, next.
Question from Long Andrew 85.
Who? Oh, now you're doing it. Everybody's yawning.
Long Andrew 85.
Long Andrew. What's so long about him?
Maybe he's very tall.
Okay.
Around what year would you say Taylor lost their way, and what led to their decline? I bought an 810 in the early 2000s that I still own and love. Surprised that they have fallen out of favor.
Well, I can sort of pinpoint that. What did he say, 2005?
He said early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. Yeah, so I'll tell you exactly what happened to Taylor. I'm not going to go too far into it. But I owned and toured with Taylors for a long time. I was friends with Bob Orbonis, I think his name was, the guy that did, he was the artist guy for Taylor. I had all kinds of connections with them. They endorsed me. I mean, I love their guitars. But when they went in the shitter was when they decided to switch all their electronics from Fishman, which at the time, was the best onboard stuff you could buy. And they switched over to Rupert Neve and these expression systems. And it alienated half their customers. And they told me so. I called them up and said, I just got this brand new, at the time, it was a $5,000 Taylor, custom made. It was called a hot rod. It was black and it had wooden flames all going down the fingerboard under the bottom. It was a fucking brilliant looking guitar. It was an unbelievable guitar. But the pickup system sounded like shit. And I called them and I said, listen, Bob, not Bob Taylor, the other guy. I said, I can't play this guitar. I just can't. I can't use it on stage. It sounds like fucking shit. And I can't use it. And he says to me, well, half the people love that system and half don't. And I said, so you're willing to give up half your fucking clientele just to go into business with Rupert Neve? And he said, yeah, basically. Yeah, I said, we're going that way. I said, yeah, but if half the guys that play your guitars decide that they don't want to play them anymore, what the fuck are you going to do after that? And he just didn't care. But he did say to me, he said, look, JP, I understand what you're saying. We will build you any guitar you want with any pickup system you want. You don't have to have this expression system. But at that time, what he had told me was, this development that was based upon going into business with Neve just blew my mind so bad, I quit playing them. And it was years and years later when the Expression System 2 came out, which alleviated 70% of the shittiness of that pickup, maybe 80%, but mostly 70. And I still to this day, I just can't use them. I can't use them. They're a fucking tool. I don't buy guitars to hang on the wall or play in my living room. I have guitars because I use them on stage, plugged into a massive sound system in front of hundreds and sometimes thousands of people, and they have to sound like a guitar. And Taylors don't sound like guitars anymore. And in recent years, over the last 3 or 4 years, they've gone with this horrendous design change, in my opinion, that they're building the guitars around the pickups now. So the guitar acoustically sounds like fucking shit. But plugged in, it's a wee bit better than it was 5 years ago, right? They just keep making the same judgment call over and over and over again. That the pro guys who want to play Taylors don't matter, right? They just don't matter. Okay, all you guys that love our guitars, that learned how to love Taylor from listening to Dan Crary and all these great Taylor players way the hell back in the day in the 80s, when Bob was building guitars by hand. Taylor, at one time, Taylor was the greatest guitar ever in the world. They were the number one guitar. They surpassed everybody in quality, sound, playability, whatever. And now they're just like, well, Taylor Swift plays our guitars, so fuck you. We're going to charge $8 million for them, and they're going to sound like shit. And here you go. So that's what happened. And I'm sorry to say all that, but it's true. I mean, I'm sorry. It's true. I feel bad about that, because I was such a Taylor fan when I was a kid. When I got my first really high-end Taylor, which was a big maple jumbo cutaway with a Fishman Matrix on board, with the whole thing, the EQ and the had a mic in it, so there was a blender on board. It was just the best guitar I ever saw. That thing just blew my face off. And eventually I sweat so much into the onboard thing on the side that I burnt the motherboard out, and it stopped working. And I couldn't. They wanted me to send it back to California and put a new board in it, put a new everything. I couldn't do it. I didn't have a surplus of guitars at the time, so I ended up trading that guitar off, which I still regret to this day, because it was one of the classic ones, right? I remember seeing going into a music store in Moncton years and years ago, and all the Taylors. The Taylors were the ones you wanted to go see because they were so fucking good. And this is back in the middle 90s, right? There was a guitar under glass, and I'll never forget it. It was called the Cujo. It was a custom limited edition guitar built by Bob because he was such a Stephen King fan. So the guitar, I don't know how many they made. They only made about maybe 10 or 15 or 20 of them or something. It was very, very rare. But there was one in Moncton, under glass, and the fret markers were all like bats and vampires and all kinds of crazy shit. Half moons, and I think there was a picture of the dog in there somewhere. It was crazy, and they wanted at the time, I'm pretty sure it was $5,000 or $6,000 in the mid '90s. So it was way beyond anybody could afford to buy something like that. But like, those memories are all positive for me, thinking about Taylor and all the great guitars they built. And I just wish, mind you, they're obviously selling 150,000 guitars a year. So they're doing just fine. But as a player, I wish they had what they used to do. I can't put it any other way. If they did, I would buy one tomorrow. But they're never going to go back to that. They're never going to do it. So, there's my Taylor rant. Getting a lot of rants going on tonight. Kernarks.
Highlighted chat from Jim Waller.
Jim Waller.
Ever have a K&K fail? Mine made a pop sound on my new Heritage Goose and stopped working. Dead for a day, and I plugged in the next day, and it was fine.
It's your jack. It's not the pickup. I have had that happen. It's a cable/jack problem. Try switching cables. If that doesn't work, it's the jack. There's something wrong with the jack. I've had that happen actually twice with different guitars. So yeah, not the sensors. It's the connection. Either the jack or the cable. Kernarks.
Highlighted chat from Corey McCormick.
Corey McCormick.
Joshua House guitars comparison to Boucher.
Oh, there's no comparison. It's a different world. Boucher has transcended out of the single bench thing into building, 600 guitars a year. Joshua House is still a true single bench builder. So he builds 12 to 15 guitars a year, just like Kennard, just like George Crackett, just like Edmondson Guitars, Steve Sheriff, just like, I remember who I forgot to mention, James Martin Instruments over in Ireland, same thing. So Josh's guitars are they're another outside level. Like that's all those single bench guys are building masterpieces every single time they open their door. A masterpiece goes out the door. Boucher does the same. So does Gallagher. All these guys, but the single bench guy, especially in Canada, they're quite rare now. And Josh House, I've been knowing Josh for 30 years, and at least 30, I think, or maybe a little under. But he built 2 guitars for me, and they were spectacular. I beat them into submission until they were destroyed, but that's not his fault; it's mine. Josh House is one of the best builders in North America. So if you want to build a custom guitar with him, or just wait for him to put out, he often just builds guitars, and here they go. Here you are. What do you think of this? And they sell right away. So he is a small bench guy, not comparable to Boucher or to anybody that's building more than 20 guitars a year. Josh is all by himself, so he's only able to put out a dozen or so instruments a year, and that's what makes him special. It's what makes Crackett special, and Kennard and Edmondson and all these guys that I talk to you about all the time, Cody and that's what the George Crackett, that's what they do. They're small bench, one guy, and it's a place where you're going to find an instrument that's, could be your dream instrument, and it's going to be super, super rare, because they after they build a design, they often don't build it again. So it's another reason to go look at a guy like Josh House, because you're going to get something that's so unique and Canadian. And he's just a good kid. I've loved him for a long time. He's been really good to me, and he's a good kid. Really good kid. Joshua House. Yeah. Let's call him a kid. He ain't a kid anymore.
If you know
He was when I met him. He was just a baby. He was like 22 or 21 years old. He was building guitars like a bastard. Now he's really come into his own in the last 15 years, I think. So check him out if you have a chance. Kernarks.
Super chat from Jim Waller.
Jimmy Waller.
I've always wanted an SJ200 Jumbo, looking for recommendations and materials. I have a few builders in mind, and you will like both of them.
I think you should buy one of these. I mean, holy shit.
You should figure out how much it costed for you.
I know it doesn't cost. It doesn't
you
cost.
You do not know. You're guessing. No,
I remember when I talked to them, one of the reasons I talked to them was how ridiculously low these guitars are priced. I'm telling you what, right now, this guitar has twice the quality of an SJ200. I'm sorry, it just does. I've been looking at SJ200s because I want one too. This one has way more mojo than anything that you're going to find in the store. This thing is an absolute beast. Listen to it. Doesn't have all that nasty bottom gank. I mean, holy shit! I don't know why you wouldn't buy one of those. If you want to, I mean, fucking SJ200 costs nearly $8,000 in Canada. It's unbelievably bad. How I want one. I had them in my hands 2 days ago. I was in Bedford. There's two of them in there. I played them both, and I was like, if I spent $7,600 on this guitar, Ginger would fucking kill me. Because it's just not worth it. It isn't. It's just not. I wish it was. But as I've always said on this channel, there's ways to get around it, you know. But if you want the best jumbo in the world, buy a Boucher. Buy one of the private stock Maple, the private reserve. Like, his jumbos sound better than any company ever in the history of guitar. So that's where you need to go. Is buy a jumbo from Robin. You'll pay the same amount of money, probably, as you would for a Gibson. But the materials and the craftsmanship and the sound and the longevity of that instrument is untouchable. Untouchable. Buy your jumbo from Boucher. I should also mention probably too that Gallagher makes a wicked jumbo. If you're looking for that kind of money, like, yeah, there's so many guys. But you don't have to buy a Gibson. I wish you could. I wish I could. I'd love to have a Gibson SJ200. Oh. And I would pay the $8,000 if I could find the one that blew me away. But I just can't. I can't justify it. Those SJ200s I played about 3 or 4 days ago don't sound any better than this. Not one bit. They're the same. So, what are you going to do? Next.
Super chat from Adrian O'Coin. What was the guitar you were playing when you first moved back to Cape Breton in '94? It had a C on the headstock.
Oh, that was an old Mansfield a Mansfield Custom that I had modified ad nauseum, and finally, I mean, Chet Atkins signed that guitar. Like, it had the very first LR bags under saddle system ever made in it. I get installed by Gruen Guitars in '91, I think it was, and that guitar went to a collector because it was worth a fortune. I made records with that. I toured all over the world with it. It was the only first decent guitar I ever owned, and but it was a Mansfield. It was a Mansfield Custom, and I had painted over all the stuff on the headstock so the C stood out, and that was it. And that's it. That's what it was. It was so heavily modified. It had Spurzl locking tuners on it. It had the very first prototype LR Bags pickup system. I cut the sound hole out of it, like Rice's guitar. It was a Frankenstein almost, but that thing was killer. And it was bought by a collector in Halifax who still has it to this day. It's got Chet Atkins' signature on the back of the headstock where he signed it for me. So that was the guitar.
Mm-hmm. I got a super chat from Burn.
Who?
Burn.
Burn?
Burn.
Okay, burn me.
He just says, Stella, good choice.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any super chats left?
No.
All right. Let's go to the question. The Christian. The question tonight is, what is the name of my brand new album that's coming out next week? Or going to be sent to press next week? What is the name of my new record? Bring it. Is it still on? No, it's dead. It went off. You know. The name of my new record is Doing Things.
CD player is a little less automatic than the Bluetooth versions.
Yes, it is. It's reading the CD. Anybody? Really?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
many
There's people.
Oh, we can't do that. You gotta be careful of getting dinged here. There, you get me a ding for that one. That's traditional. What is the name of the brand new guitar album? Anybody?
Some people.
Okay, who do we got?
Let's see here. First one is Cajun Queen with 50 years of guitar.
And she is the first one. Is this the first one?
That is the first one.
Cajun Queen, you are the first one. 50 years of guitar. And that's all we're going to take tonight is just one. As we get up to 8. We don't want to pile them in there too soon. We have to make this last all the way into December. So there you go, boys and girls. That was String Theory. A special thanks to all of our partners. There's so many of them. There's just so many of them. It's getting out of hand. Guys that just make really cool guitars. There's so many choices. The best time in life, in the history of man, really, to be a guitar player. It is. So many choices. There's just a bountiful selection everywhere you look, from guys that want to spend 15 grand right down to 1,500. That's the world right now. So many great guitars. So we thank you for watching, and special thanks to the lovely Ginger in the house putting up with my shit all the time. Don't forget to look out for 50 Years of Guitar, the brand new J.P. Cormier album. It is a collection of 23 guitar instrumentals on one CD, and there'll be a rather involved write-up in the disc liner notes, and talking about guitars I used on each cut and the story behind the tune. It takes us right from basically when I was 5 right until I'm now. Old fart. So there you go. Love you. See you next week. We will be here with Jimmy Rankin next Wednesday night. Don't miss it. It's going to be wicked.
Friends.